You're great.
You're great.
You're great.
You're great.
You're
Hey,
great.
Derek.
Are we going to have nicknames for each other each episode?
You're
I think
great.
we should.
You're great.
I'm Underboob. That's the original. That's the OG. So you're Nev
so
Nips, I'm
great.
Underboob.
Oh, wait. Let's not give away the studio production value we have here.
It's pretty low.
You're probably going to sing anyway, so you might as well just use
That's
that
a
part,
good
you
point.
know? Okay.
You're great.
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 You know who else is great?
Who's great?
Ryan Singer's
Ryan, you're
great.
great.
You guys are great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh,
This
yay.
is fun. This is good. So I like when people jump on right away. They get it. You know, some people look at us like we're crazy.
Yeah, whoa.
Well, I think he did that too,
I don't know.
but-
There's something about the positive reinforcement right from the beginning that makes me feel warm.
Right?
Good.
Yeah, that's what we're
Oh,
going
that's what
for.
we're going
This
for,
is
yeah.
perfect. Welcome to the Hug Life Podcast. I'm Monica Nevi.
And I'm Mike Coletta.
And this is our podcast.
Yes, we have a very special guest. Ryan Singer is here.
I am all of us at once.
Yeah.
We're all connected, man. Every photo's a selfie, dude.
It's all. Every photo's
That's amazing. Oh, man. Perfect. All right.
All right. Let's go. We do our plugs up top. Do you have your website and your Twitter?
RyanSingerComedy.com.
There you go.
Instagram at Rysing, Rysing. It's also Twitter, Rysing, Rysing. I love Instagram the most, though.
Instagram is the best.
Yeah.
Some cool stuff.
Instagram is the best.
It is. I used to be all about Twitter, and now I'm like, no, Instagram, it's just pictures. It's just nice. You know what you can't be in pictures? Annoying and political, usually.
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 Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes.
People started just screen. Not everybody does this, but sometimes people are like, you know what? I think my Instagram followers need to know my political opinion on Instagram, so they'll just screenshot their Twitter
Oh, I've seen
Tweets.
that.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
and then they'll
Yeah.
post those on Instagram.
I've done that a couple
trying
times.
to get more. But
Not
when you do it,
political,
it's not
usually.
like you telling someone to go F themselves
Yeah,
or
that's
something.
true.
Usually,
That's-
right?
Right. Yeah.
It's like a joke.
I actually, my only way to argue with people is to be like, "I love you" on Twitter, and they hate it. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
works out well. Yeah, I'm not a
But
big
yeah,
go
so it's
F
like
yourself.
you're doing that as you're doing your jokes
Yeah.
over there on Instagram.
yeah.
As opposed to your, I don't know. I mean, everyone knows you're not going to change anyone's mind,
Yeah.
especially strangers on the internet with 140 characters or one photo. But yet people still do it.
They just think they're, it's nuts. Oh, man.
That's why I've disconnected from most of it. I'm totally
I think that's
disconnected. Not
smart.
totally, but I'm mostly disconnected from, all of that stuff.
I thought about taking it off my phone. Just taking
the only thing
Twitter.
I have on my phone is Instagram.
See, I'm thinking about doing it just because I just check it like crazy, and I'm like, why? And nothing's changed. Like you check it, and then 15 minutes later, you're like, why am I looking at it again?
I know.
Nothing's different,
Dude, how it's gotten so bad. How often I will be on an app, close that app, and then open it back up again is insane to me. And I'm like, oh god,
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, you're just
Twitter,
lucky you don't
and
have
it's like,
something that's measuring
oh,
you how much
nothing
you
on
do
Twitter.
it.
Let me see what's going on Twitter.
If you had an
Yeah.
app that measured how much you were closing and opening it and getting on all the time, you would probably want to throw up.
Yeah, it's bad. I hate it. I make it a point in the morning not to look at it when I wake up. I try and write 2 pages before I look at it because I'm afraid it's gonna get in there.
Oh yeah, you don't.
before I
Like
know,
if
even
I'm
know
on
what's
Twitter,
going
within
on.
15 seconds, I'm automatically in a less good mood.
Yeah, no, it's
I can
crazy.
feel it.
Yeah.
Just
And
looking
so yeah,
through
I
all
don't.
the-
I try. So now
gonna be a great
on my
podcast.
computer, I've set my Twitter, my bookmark is just the notifications page.
Oh,
So when I click
Oh,
on,
so
so
instead
when
of
I go to
seeing all
Twitter,
the-
it's just the notification. Like, do I have someone asking me a question that I want to answer, or do I need to retweet a show promo?
Right.
It's not the feed.
That's
it's not the
gr-
timeline.
oh,
and
that's
then
a good-
Facebook, this was painstaking, and I don't recommend doing it. And also, you can just have a page, and you don't have to worry about it. But I unfollowed everyone on my friends list.
Oh wow.
So there's no feed.
it's just empty. See, I've
It's
heard
just
you,
empty
I've heard you
for
can
the most
do.
part.
You can
Great.
unfollow everyone, and there's also Google Chrome extensions that will make it so they just take away your newsfeed.
Oh, I didn't.
That's great.
Yeah.
I wish I
Would've
would have
been
known that.
Yeah,
less
yeah.
work.
So I didn't spend a week
Yeah,
unfollowing everyone.
I've heard this. It's either a Google Chrome extension or like
Oh,
a
man.
Safari, whatever the Mac version is of that. That like you can just get rid of your news feed.
Oh
So
man,
it'll
that's
just
such
show
a
up,
cool
like-
extension.
Yeah.
which
that's
I
great.
thought would be cool because I'm like, that's the thing that's the thing I look at all the time for no reason. I'm like, if I just got rid of that and I just use it strictly for messaging, for booking, which is what everyone I feel like
Yeah,
every
it's
comedian
emotion-
has
yeah.
it for. Like,
Wall is emotional graffiti. The Messenger. I have Facebook Messenger on my phone just because you have to
yeah, it's the
for booking. And but yeah, I don't. I don't get into that anymore.
Yeah.
And because I'm old enough to be around when like MySpace was the thing too, like when MySpace first came out. So I've burned out on it all.
Yeah.
And like
I think it makes you weird too. So
yeah, and it's like
not good
I'm
for
trying
you.
to make eye contact with strangers on the street now, which sometimes is weird. But like if I'm hiking and a woman is hiking by herself, I usually let her instigate, like to say I'm trying to say hello to everyone.
Yeah.
But when a woman's hiking by herself in a park in the mountains or something, you kind of have to like, as a man, you have to kind of be like, well, I'll let her say hello first,
Yeah.
or maybe I'll smile but try not to be creepy and just
Yeah.
look away real fast.
Like
but
acknowledge your existence. Just hey, and then
yeah, like
Right.
we're
go.
just
You're a
people
human.
here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Not everything has to be, I don't know. You want to be one of those people that like gives people good experiences, so they don't think
Yeah.
everyone like you is an awful person.
yeah, that's a good outlet.
But if I'm hiking with a female friend of mine, it's much easier to just start saying hello to all the women.
Because everyone's like,
Everyone.
this guy's cool. He's got
he's with a
friends.
lady.
Yeah.
She
knows
clearly looks
ladies.
like she feels safe.
Yeah, this is good.
Or it's Stockholm syndrome,
Right.
But
You
yeah, so
kidnapped her as
but yeah,
well.
the internet can really do that to. I was like, I just had this breakthrough the other day, and I don't want to run bits.
No, you
But like the TV, the news cycle that we all know is just horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if like people don't understand if a person was in your living room yelling that stuff at you all day long for every day for the past 15 years, you'd be a crazy person.
Oh
absolutely.
You would believe them probably.
You'd
Yeah.
never come out of your room.
It's like we do have Stockholm syndrome to our televisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
We don't have cable though, so we're super healthy.
yeah.
It's just that Netflix syndrome.
It's just that
that's all.
Netflix addiction.
Yeah, you got
right?
Netflix syndrome.
Yeah. I was gonna say we're talking about all this stuff, and then I'm about to be like, follow me on Twitter.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But it is good because I deleted my Twitter for a minute, and then a friend of mine, Jeff Tate, he's like, you have a new album coming out in like a month,
Oh,
and now
yeah.
you've just lost like 6,000 people who will know about your album coming out.
Oh, see.
Why are you doing that?
I know,
And I was like,
yeah.
there's always a reason not
Right.
to delete it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you just have to. I just had to show some self-control
Yeah.
because you don't like the idea that I have to delete it or I'll be on it.
Right.
It's like,
You should
well,
be able
just
to
how about just
not
not be on it?
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah.
you don't have to delete it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that could be a thing you do.
Yeah,
Show
that's what I
some
was thinking. If
self-control.
I just took it off, because I thought it was, I only look at it on my phone. So if I just take it off my phone, I'll just forget, which is nice, actually.
Yeah.
I think.
It's great. There are times when I re-download it onto my phone. It's still
We're still recording. We're fine. Yeah.
because
I just knock shit over all the time.
if I have like a conversation going like about a booking or something that I need to and I have to leave the house or I'm on the road and my computer's dead or something, you can always just use the browser too.
Yeah, that's what
and
people
bring up the website.
Yeah, a lot of people say to use the
And
browser for that.
It's not as convenient or
Yeah.
Yeah.
easy to use, but and you can't switch through accounts if you have multiple accounts, whatever. But it's fine.
I've heard people do that too because it saves room on your phone.
I
You don't
say-
apps taking up space.
Get a piece of shit phone that doesn't have all the apps.
Go
That's
flip
what.
phones.
what I
That's what
did.
you did for the longest time.
Yeah, I had not on purpose, but I had a Windows phone forever, and it always had like a beta app, or you just had to go through the browser to find most stuff, and so I couldn't do half of the shit on the app or whatever, and it was like I wasn't on Instagram or whatever. I never had them because I couldn't. But then I just took it on the computer.
I wonder if you can like how much longer from now you could have a flip phone and not be considered like, oh, you're a hipster douchebag. Oh, you're doing flip phone.
Right.
I think there's going to be a flip phone resurgence.
I think because
think
you can
it
get
doesn't-
you can get them for free now. If you get a flip phone like if you get an AT&T plan and you're like, I want a cell phone, but I don't want to pay for the you can get a flip phone for free. They'll just give them to you. And
I've got AT&T. I use
comes with
AT&T.
I do too.
I've had this for it'll be 3 years in November.
Oh, wow.
I'm on 2 years with this,
So
and I don't want to.
I refuse to do this new phone thing.
Me too.
$25 a month for a new phone. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Well, and then
And your
the new
bill's
one comes
cheaper.
out 3
Love it.
months later or whatever, and you're
Yeah.
like, well, great, I'm glad.
They
I
needed.
spent
There was this
shit
article
on this.
about like sustainability where they were talking about how phone companies need to stop making, like Apple needs to stop making a new iPhone every year because there's no point. Like if they just did it every 2 years, how much less waste there would be.
Right.
Just like they added it all up, like garbage,
Right,
landfills.
just-
Trying to get all these
making
greedy
it, right.
bastards to like agree to have like it's almost
Yeah.
like a ceasefire.
Yeah, to just agree to be like, let's just have it every 2 years. New, like, so the next iPhone 9 will come out in like 2019 or whatever, and you just know it's coming out.
You
then.
know, it would be amazing if that was possible. But
But it's
then,
not.
like these startup companies, like these other people would be like, "This is our chance.
Yeah,
Right.
They gave us a window to
sneak
get
in.
rich,
Yeah.
so we can be rich assholes,
Yeah.
and we can live in a bubble when the world is dead, with no one around,
Yeah.
and nowhere to go visit, and
And no
nothing
one
to
to
see.
call
But
on
guess
your
what? We'll
fucking
still be
phone.
alive,
Yeah,
No
we'll
one
have
to
all this
text.
money.
and maybe we can go live on that frozen moon of Jupiter. Like, there's nothing up there, man.
There's nothing there.
Like
Europa.
all these rich idiots think that they're just going to live forever, and maybe
Yeah.
they know alchemy, and maybe I'm talking out of turn.
And they're gonna
maybe
freeze
they've
their
figured
brain.
out how to
Yeah, they
transmutate
know.
and transfigure their soul into immortality. But guess what? From what I've heard, it sounds too painful, and I don't want to do it.
Let's just end it all.
That sounds stupid. I mean, yeah, that's great. Anyways, what's your website?
ColetaComedy.com. I updated it. There you go.
That's good. And I'm MonicaNevy.com. I'll be on the road, but you guys come see me. And the Monica Nevy on all the crap.
All the crap.
All the
All the crap we just
you can
talked
rate
about.
and review to subscribe to the podcast. You can rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast
Write
on
a review
iTunes.
where you just describe the podcast.
Describe the
That'd be
podcast in your review. Let people know what it's all about. Some people say don't review the movie by saying the movie. We disagree. Just do it.
good. It's Hug Life.
Yeah, and also we are on Stitcher and all the other apps and stuff there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can go to our website, huglifepodcast.com,
Mm-hmm.
and there's an Amazon banner at the top. And you can click on that.
Click on that banner to do Bammer
You can click on that banner.
We're
to buy the new Maria Bamford special.
Are your albums on Amazon?
They are on Amazon. I believe they're on iTunes. They're Google Play.
Ooh,
Nice.
that stuff.
They're all in all those places.
Yeah. What's the newest one? Is
The last one was called Immortal for Now,
Immortal for Now.
and then the first one was called How to Get High Without Drugs. That came out in like 2009. And then 2012 was Comedy Wonder Town.
Comedy Wonder Town.
And then 2015 was Immortal for Now.
Nice. They're all on Amazon, Google Play, everything.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is click on our Amazon
Pandora,
banner and then go buy
Spotify.
Ryan's albums.
Ryan's
Although
great.
Spotify is such a rip-off for
Yeah,
the
I think-
actual creative.
I've
artists.
never
Yeah.
used Spotify, and I don't want to say it was for that reason. I just didn't get around to it. But I've learned about that now, and I'm like, I feel better about myself. Like
Yeah, but Pandora pays you.
I accidentally did
Pandora
something wrong.
pays you.
Pandora pays, yeah. Pandora
And
pays.
satellite radio pays you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Spotify is the one that's the the hell sent demon beast.
Yeah. Hey, Spotify, you're not
Hell's a
great.
Demon Beast. Spotify.
Spotify.
I am Spotify. Here's 1/1,000,000th of a penny
That's
for
great.
every time your song gets played.
1/1,000,000th of a. Oh God.
Sell me your soul for followers, and I'll give you 6 pence to stream a whole album.
That's how backwards Spotify is. They still use pence. You're like,
6
yeah,
pence.
Spotify, we moved on from pence.
Like you don't
I'll
even know
trade
how
you
much
a
that is.
grain of barley.
Spotify's paying me on the barter system. This is
7
so
million people listen to your album. Here is a cupcake made of shards of my shit.
Okay, yeah, I'll stop.
So yeah, not. Spotify.
I drank too much coffee right before I came.
Oh, that's good.
I was just in the car driving the whole way, like,
Happy Mother's Day.
You're like, I have this new demon thing I'm going to do on this podcast.
Thank you for shooting me out of your birth canal, mother.
She's like, don't call me anymore.
don't call me ever again. Don't call me.
That's great. Do you have,
we got. We got
I would like to lexically embrace
like to
Greg Popovich, but that's just.
That's okay.
Yeah, I love him so much, and I haven't never done it. So
Okay.
lexical embrace is like a shout out. We were calling them
okay.
oral hugs. The Hug Bugs decided they wanted to change the name. So
Okay.
lexical embrace. If you want to shout anybody out, you go for
Lexical
it.
embrace. Oh, you know what? Diane Lane.
Good.
Lexical embrace Diane Brain. Am I saying that right?
Diane
Diane Brain?
Diane Lane?
Yeah.
Diane Lane. Did I say Diane Brain?
You said
The second
Diane
time,
Lane
yeah.
first, and then the
Oh,
second time
Diane
you went
Lane.
Brain.
Like, I would sell my soul to Spotify to actually embrace Diane Lane. The most wonderful. First of all, she's a brilliant actress.
Absolutely. My
Second of
favorite
all, probably the most
mom.
beautiful woman that's ever been born onto the world.
I do really like her.
She's perfectly, and this might sound weird, but like, she's perfectly flawed. Does that make sense? Like perfection,
I need
like
to look up
absolute
picture of
perfection
Diane Lane
is
right now.
creepy. It's not real, right?
Right.
And,
yeah.
And like, so that's why plastic surgery looks so weird, I think, to
Yeah.
me. Because when someone tries to make themselves be perfectly symmetrical, even though we say symmetry is what beauty is, but like when you're perfectly symmetrical, it's creepy. That's like the best music. There was scientific studies about the best music is slightly you would never be able to perceive it with your ear is slightly offbeat.
And Diane Lane
it's
is
never like
slightly offbeat.
boom boom. It's never perfectly like a metronome.
Yeah.
That's
She
why
was- She was the mom in Jack, and
Yeah.
she was just so fun in that
she
movie.
was
where
also the
she's
mom
like,
in Superman.
She's
Yeah,
she's
that's
a
what
lot
I
of
just recognize
moms.
her from too.
But she was also in this movie. Oh, what's it called? It's where with Richard Gere and this other actor, where she like has an affair, and there's this sex scene that is like insanity. It's so hot. It's like in a bathroom stall of a bar, and it's like, and Richard. Spoiler: this movie's 20 years old. Spoiler: Richard Gere, her husband, reacts, as in an extreme way when he finds out.
Right, yes.
In regards to the man.
Is it called Nights in Rodantha?
No,
Rodamp?
that's a different movie.
Rodamp?
But
That's a newer.
Were they in other ones then together?
I believe, yeah. It's called. It's not called Fracture. It's
Yeah, it's something.
it's something like that. But you understand Richard Gere's reaction because like if I was married to Diane Lane and like that happened and
She
a
cheated
man
on
seduced
you?
her, I would murder him
Right, because she's
instead of like
perfect.
addressing the issues that I may have
Right,
that caused her to
I
be
wasn't-
seeking
Just go
love
straight
elsewhere.
to murder.
Yeah, straight to murder
It's his
instead of
fault.
like an evaluation of like, oh, what am I not giving her?
She can't cheat on
That
me with that
maybe-
guy if he's dead.
Yeah. Like clearly, it's not me. Clearly, it's him and her that are the problem.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm emotionally unavailable.
I need to find this
Or-
movie. You
Yeah,
just
it's
sold it
very
to us.
good. It's
Sociopath.
called it's really good.
It's probably on HBO Go or something.
Oh, probably. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's like a psychological thriller.
Oh,
It's pretty good, and
Sounds
it's
like it.
But anyway, Diane Lane's the best.
Diane
I do
Lane.
love her.
You're great.
Yeah,
Never
you're great,
change.
Diane.
You're the best.
Mikey
Diane's a
Riley.
great name.
And also, I'd like to Lexico Pro shout out.
Lexico Pro.
Wait, what's it called? wait, what's it?
Lexical Embrace.
Lexico Embrace.
Lexico Pro.
Is that like an antidepressant or something?
Yeah, Lexapro. is
Lexapro.
Lexapro.
But then you said
But you said
Lexico
like
Pro.
Lexigo Pro. Like that's what I.
Lexigopro.
It's like
It's like you say
It's like-
Lexapro, then you just have GoPro.
depressed, whatever hikers
Depressed
or not
extreme
hikers, but
sports.
yeah, extreme sports.
I like the
hikers.
lexical embrace. Can you do imaginary people?
Yeah, you can do anything.
You can do like someone I've always wanted to embrace but never been able to is Falcor, the good luck dragon from the Neverending Story.
Oh,
Lexical
yeah.
embrace to Falcor, the big fluffy dragon.
That's such a good
not a
dragon.
dog.
Yeah.
Not a dog.
It's a dragon.
People stop calling it a dog.
It's not a dog.
People keep saying that dog from the Neverending Story. It's a dragon.
How dare they?
He
Resembles
just
a
has fur.
fluffy dog, sure, but it's a dragon.
He just has
Definitely.
fur.
I would say that dogs resemble dragons. Dragons don't resemble dogs.
Yes.
Nailed
okay.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little too upset about
No,
it.
I actually agree because when I didn't see Neverending Story fully until like 2 or 3 years ago, and they say dragon. They call it
I
a
used
dragon.
to watch it
Yeah.
all the time.
It's a luck dragon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's different.
And that movie is the best. It's my favorite movie.
It's a great movie. I watched it actually. I actually watched it the night before I drove down and moved here.
Oh, that's a good movie to watch because it teaches you that you're fucked without luck.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what we need to remember here in Hollywood.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
exactly.
You could,
Gotta get your luck dragon.
you could have all of the speed and innovation of the racing snail or the flying bat. You could have the strength of the rock biter. You know what I mean? You could have the bravery and the indomitable will of Atreyu, the purple buffalo hunter, the bravest warrior in all the land, but without Falcor swooping down and giving you luck twice,
Yeah.
you will be swallowed by the nothing. That is Hollywood.
It's a great
It's a great analogy.
analysis.
Yeah, and then don't even get into the part about the alien, which is the human child.
Oh,
having to
yeah.
rename the empress. So it's like that's a whole
It's a whole different.
I just
human
want to watch
civilization. We've
Neverending
been
Story
seeded
again.
here by aliens, and all this other stuff. But I would like to lexical embrace. As my former self, as a younger self, can I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that.
Or as
Absolutely.
current self, but with her current self as well. But my former self, like the childlike empress from the movie, The Neverending Story, probably the first girl I was ever in love with.
Oh. She's like a sweet. She always seemed very nice. Like I was like, I don't want to be friends with her. She seems like a nice lady.
Yeah, she was. Beautiful. just beautiful. And as a boy, I was like, I am in love with her.
I would think that her as an adult would be Diane Lane. So there you go.
You know what? You might be onto something there.
Yeah, I think that's
actually she teaches ballet.
Oh, really?
As a
Now
grown-up.
that's what
Tammy
she does?
Stronach is her name,
Yeah.
I think. This is her
Tammy.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, she looks
I mean,
great.
right? I think she teaches ballet.
Jeez.
And Atreyu is I think he's got a auto garage in Florida.
now. Really?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Is it called a Trey's Auto?
It should be.
It should be. I don't blame anybody that was a child star and is like, yeah, I'm just going to keep.
I'm out.
Let me remind you that I did
I'm not
this.
going to let this
but now I'm a mechanic.
manipulation of like my core beliefs and like I'm not going to become a total monster.
Especially before you even know anything. You're not even.
These kids don't have a
developed, right?
chance.
Oh,
I mean, I
yeah.
can't believe. I have deep compassion for Lindsay Lohan.
Oh yeah.
I used to think she whatever, but like then it's. I can't believe she's not dead. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
If I were her, I probably, not to be too dark, but I probably would have killed myself years ago. Like, I can't imagine someone like hanging out my bedroom window, trying to catch photos every day of my life.
Like-
everywhere you go, there's people trying to take your photo and talk to you. That would drive me insane after 4 days.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's like to be a person at all. Like you've
Yeah.
always been. I think even like kids who aren't necessarily famous that grow up in Hollywood are a little bit weird too, compared to someone who just grew up around normal kids. You know, like
Yeah,
the
'cause
industry
that-
just makes everything weird.
Yeah, it makes everything
So
weird.
of course she's fucking doing
It's all
drugs
outside.
and nuts
It's all
and
the
shit.
outside superficial appearance kind of stuff
Yeah.
as opposed to, and that makes sense why you would do drugs, because drugs are a
Hell yeah.
mental way to escape your physical reality.
Right, that you
So
can't
it's like
get
this
out of.
mystical escape pod,
Yeah.
as opposed to, from the material world, which is awful because you're being hounded constantly. So it makes sense why you would just, and especially like cocaine, and it's a stimulant. So it's hard to like not feel like back when I did a bunch of coke, I always wanted to call my grandpa and tell him I loved him. So it like
Right. Yeah.
like it made me feel good. So it's like
just picture
I could
you
understand why
doing
Lindsay was
cocaine.
doing a bunch of coke. She probably felt great.
Right. She was
I just
like,
picture
loved
you
her family
like
again.
I just picture a young Ryan Singer at a club just doing coke in the bathroom, being like, "I gotta call my grandpa." Like everyone's dancing,
Give me
having a
a
good time. You're like,
landline.
I need a landline. Where's a payphone?
He doesn't have a cell phone. That's great. Oh,
I mean,
man.
I actually wanted to use a payphone recently for some reason. I just had a
just
desire.
you wanted to just to
I
use
used
it, or
to
you-
because at school they had the payphone. Like I was the last class that had the payphones, and I would use them all with a calling card all the time. And it was
Oh,
like
yeah.
9 minutes for 1 minute on a payphone.
Yeah, hell
and I
yeah.
would call my mom all the time. I was like, I just liked having knowing I could just walk up to a phone anywhere and like use it. You know?
I called them collect all the time because I could remember the song from the TV show.
Oh yeah, there
Or
was
the
like 1010.
commercial.
There was like 1010 220 was one of them.
CALLATT.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
And
it's really stuck in my
so
brain.
yeah, like I would get. Yeah, I had to do it from a payphone. We were camping once. Like I don't know, and I just remembered that, so it worked.
I still know the number for the Pizza Hut in Eagle River, Alaska, because of their commercials. It's 337-2323.
You know what? The one phone number I remember is there was an injury attorney here in Los Angeles in the early 2000s. It was on all the buses. And his name was like Miguel Lopez or something. And this is probably awful, but like I just remember the number was 222-222 or 222-222-2222. And every time I saw the bus, I would just go, dos, 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 dos. Dos, 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 dos. So yeah, it was just 222-2222, and I would just dos, 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 dos. And like, I'll never forget that.
Yeah, it's
Just because I would just drive around in my car by myself. And every time I saw it, I just had to yell, dos, 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 dos.
They had a jingle for that Eagle River Pizza Hut thing, and it's like, yeah,
Right,
that's what
when there's a
sticks to you.
song,
When
too,
there's a
you're like,
song, it's just like,
God.
why are you doing this to me? You're working so well.
Hilarious. Oh man!
By the way, just to let you guys know, Tammy Stronach, the Empress from Neverending Story, she was born in Tehran, Iran. You guys didn't know
she was
that?
born in Iran.
Yeah,
Oh,
wow.
interesting, right? Mm-hmm.
That is interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this
Thank
is-
you for that.
Yeah, no problem. I looked up her Wikipedia page and I'm like, that's an interesting fact.
That is a solid fact.
All right, we got to do good news. You want? Oh, wait, you got. I ruined it.
God.
I'm so sorry.
Hey guys, good news.
We talk about good news
Let's
stories.
start
Okay.
That's
I
how
like
start
this.
the segment.
Germany breaks a solar record, gets 85% of its electricity from renewables.
Wow.
The country of Germany.
85? Is that what you said?
85% of their electricity is from solar, wind, or water.
Way to go, Germany.
Good job, Germany. That's it. I just wanted to do that once. I think that's a nice.
It's a great. I like that.
It's happy.
I like the
I like
energy
ones that make it seem like the world's not going to end because we're ruining it.
Yeah, that is good.
You know?
Yeah.
And I
It just
think
makes me feel good.
isn't France pretty much runs solely on nuclear?
Yeah, I think.
Which I used to be real anti-nuclear as this hippie kid, and then I watched this documentary on Netflix called Pandora's Box, and you watch that, and you're like, oh snap! I've been lied to about a lot of stuff, or just didn't have all the information, and money. As the root of all evil, and one idiot in the United States government, some general back in the day who got to decide between a couple different nuclear plant models, picked the one that was probably cheaper to build. So now, and then that one got copied all around the world after we did it, which makes them more problematic than they should be, than they ever should have been. And so I'm like, oh, okay, I'm into some nuclear. And then when you think about how more people... everybody in the world could have energy if it was done correctly.
Right.
Because then some of these guys will say, like these nuclear engineers and mechanical engineers will be like, solar and wind energy will never power the entire world. You can never give 7 billion people energy through these things. That's why nuclear has to be here.
Yeah.
I don't know if, that's what they say, and they seem pretty smart. I don't know if it's true or not.
That's the fun part. You're like, you seem smart.
I read most scientists say, nuclear is actually really safe. It's just we've done it wrong this whole time, and everyone's been stupid about it. That's why in Washington, where we're from, the Hanford site has all those closed down. They never even opened those. Well, they made the uranium for the bombs, but then they never did anything else ever, because it was right after everyone got freaked out. They shut it.
Yeah, that's
down.
what you hear about Richland, that club in Richland.
Yeah,
Atomic Pizza.
Yeah, Hanford.
Whatever.
Oh, Jokers in Richland.
Yeah, they say that there's
Be there
one of
in
the
August.
highest populations of PhDs.
Yep.
Because of the accident over there. There was a meltdown or something over there, and so all these these doctors and scientists had to come in to try to figure out how to fix everything.
What ended up happening is they didn't realize that when they were putting the waste in the ground, it was leaking into the watershed.
Oh.
Yeah. So a large area of the water table, I think is what it's called, is radioactive.
Oh, okay. So that
they did a
not good.
podcast on it, and they were explaining it. Yeah. So
a very unique fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was at the time when they didn't understand how to dispose of nuclear waste correctly. So what they were doing is they were putting it in this thing, and they thought it was secure when it wasn't secure. So it was leaking. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that club once.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fine.
It's a fun.
Yeah.
Jokers is fine.
I did it
Yeah.
once.
I did
it had the
one
guy,
time.
the MC guy, had this big mohawk, and
I think I had the same MC guy. Was he
was
kind of an improv dude?
Improv musical. I wish I could remember his name. I don't know if he still does it or not.
I did.
don't know if he's
I'm
still the
there
house
in
MC.
August. So
I did
I'll tell you.
Jokers. I featured there when I was 6 months into comedy, and they were like, "Do you have 30 minutes?" And I just lied, and I was like, "Yeah, of course." And I wrote in my notebook, I put 15 minutes of jokes, and then I wrote crowd work for 10 minutes.
You wrote it down.
I wrote it down. It's in my book.
In case you were going to forget.
Who was the headliner?
Rick D'Elia was the headliner. Very nice.
So did you have to do a bunch of crowd work to fill the time?
I did end up doing I didn't do it at the end. What I did was I always had the jokes at the end, but there was a good middle point of it where I'm like, all right, you gotta talk to the crowd.
Did Rick ever say, "Hey man, how about you don't do crowd work"?
Because I think he was nice and he knew. He was a really
You
nice.
could tell. He's like,
He could tell I was. This was when also you would do the wet T-shirt contest after the show, and you'd pour water on the girls.
What?
No, we know what a wet T-shirt
but
contest
I do not remember this.
This would, but what
Yeah, I
happened?
never-
This is
I
what
had
was
a
funny,
band
and this is
after
why
us
I was
once,
like, they're never gonna invite me back again, and that's not the reason. It's because they've gone through 18 different levels of management. But
Yeah, there's always different people there. But
I lost my cell phone right before the wet T-shirt contest, and
you couldn't take pictures.
and all of security, I was freaking out because I couldn't find my cell phone, and I was losing it because I'm like, I need my cell phone. Oh my gosh, how am I going to call my mom or my girlfriend? The only two people I call. And then the whole security team fanned out to find it during the craziest time, and I think I pissed like every security guard off because they were all looking. And my phone was in the sound booth; it just fell out of my pocket.
Probably.
So you got the entire staff to look for yourself
to look for myself
because
I freaked out so bad, and then I was like, it was paranoia, and it was
during
not good.
when there's these
And then-
ladies on stage.
and then, so
getting
what's
Do you have like the
water
president's cell phone number in your phone or something?
No.
Like,
Right.
No one can
There
find
were
my
so
cell phone.
many
I
people.
can find it right now. Send out everybody.
I can't even explain
go,
it.
my mom.
It was so dumb. And then the funny part is the owner, he finds the phone. The head of security finds the phone in the sound booth. He walks up to me. He slams it in my hand and he just walks away. And I'm like, yeah, I'm never working here again.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you piss off the staff. You're never
you
coming
piss off
back.
Yeah,
that. But that
the
whole
staff
staff isn't there anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure that
Is the same guy running it?
Max
Max?
is the manager guy. Yeah, but Tribble's still booking
Oh, okay.
like some
Mhm.
of it too.
Yeah.
So I think they like switch off.
But I missed the I had the other thing. The reason I thought of that is because the Mohawk guy. I'm like, you can do the wet t-shirt contest, and he got really uncomfortable, but he did it anyway because they like.
Oh, he did it.
They said we had to do it. It was like this weird thing where they
Wait,
were like,
you guys were.
me and Rick.
I regret to
had
inform
do
you
it.
that I would have just been waiting for the wet t-shirt contest the whole time.
Yeah, no,
I get to pour the water on them?
yeah, no. I was like, I wanted to do it, but I just.
Although you had a girlfriend.
Yeah, I had a girlfriend.
I mean,
Half-
like, creepy Ryan's like, oh, I get to hose them down. But yeah, there's
How much more
supposed to be
time
a
do I have to
hose.
do?
I can't. You pour like
you
cups of
and they were
water. So you'd have to
inside?
like get like right
we
by
had,
their.
there were I ended up doing it for the last girl, and it was pitchers, like beer pitchers they'd fill with water, and you just pour it, and they're standing in like a kiddie pool. Like
Would you pour it on their
yeah,
head or
that's
you
okay.
pour it on their shirt, like their chest?
I'd pour it like just above them as high as I could, just so I didn't aim for anywhere.
That's so creepy.
It
to
felt
use,
really
like,
creepy.
Not use a hose.
It felt really creepy.
To act like even using a hose is like, whatever happened to a respectable wet t-shirt
Where you
contest?
just
Where
hose
you
them
hose a woman down so you can get her nipples
in
hard
front of a whole
through
audience.
a white
can't-
t-shirt.
That's hilarious.
I can't.
That's so.
I
wet
can't-
t-shirt concerts are so
they're
like.
so-
It's weird.
It's so dumb.
I've not done one, but there's this one of the dance clubs in Seattle, one of the gay dance clubs we used to go to like every Thursday. On Wednesday nights they have like a wet underwear contest for like the guys, and if I was like, I knew the drag queen that hosted it, and if I was there she would always give me the squirt guns. So it was just dudes dancing in a pool while I was just like trying to shoot him in the dick with a squirt gun. And, like, that's how it was fucking great. You're like,
Oh my God.
So part of you is like, I guess I get the wet t-shirt thing.
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
this is fun.
I mean, honestly, and it's funny because now if that situation would have happened to me, I would have been like, I'll find my phone later. It's just like I was so new into comedy and I was so like wanting to impress and try to be like the bright feature. When in the end, I actually made it way worse by just not being cool.
Where's
like,
my
yeah.
phone?
But where's my phone? It was fun though. It was and the Rick guy was really nice.
But they talk about the nuclear plant. Like,
They do, a
So like
lot.
everything is, there's like atomic pizza and like it's all like
Yeah.
themed like that.
But then
or
they
whatever.
also say don't
Yeah, don't talk
Don't.
about it.
don't be on stage, and if you see someone, don't be like, hey, you look like. It's like, well, I mean, I guess. And part of me was like, what, do I strike you as the kind of comedian who's going to go on stage and like do like crowd work, like, hey, you look like you're mentally handicapped.
Yeah.
Hey. You know, but I guess, comics, I guess.
I
are
love
doing
that when people come up to me like, "Hey, don't do any bits about like abortion time." Like I have bits just hanging out that I always
Right,
do.
like,
Like
oh, all my
what is
abortion
what are you
material.
thinking? Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing about Hanford that's interesting is you can tour the Hanford site, but you have to get like 3 levels of security clearance. Like there's like background checks, and it takes like a year and a half to get on the list or whatever.
That is weird.
I should've
Yeah,
known
because
that.
it's like they'll take you through because it's
There's
essentially an
aliens.
abandoned city in the middle of the desert.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, where like these nuclear power plants and stuff are.
Man, that Pandora's Box documentary was so good.
I need to watch
Like, 'cause
that.
I didn't
You're the
realize that
second
people
person
moved
that's
in,
mentioned
like, people moved back into Chernobyl almost immediately.
Really?
And we've been led to believe, like, 1 million people died because of the Chernobyl thing. And when it was, like, I think, like 115.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
I could be, I'm exactly wrong
It's
on
just
that number,
less
but
than-
like
yeah.
it's like exponentially less than
Yeah.
than you've been led to believe, because
Pandora's
there's like
box.
environmentalist type people who are going out there spreading, for their own cause, are spreading like information they know isn't true
Interesting.
to try to scare people.
Pandora's
And
box.
the funny thing about that documentary is one of the guys who's in there, it used to be like one of the people in charge of green, like up high in Greenpeace.
Really?
So either that or like the Sierra Club or something like that, to where you're like, oh, this guy, I remember watching the preview and I'm like, I'll watch this. I'm like, oh, they got to him. They paid him money or something. You know what I mean? Like his mom needed like a really expensive surgery and they said, hey, you come work for the nuclear industry and we'll pay for your mom's surgery. I was like, you never know what people need money for. So, but then when I watched it, I was kind of like, you know what? I clearly wasn't.
I think
I just wasn't
really
informing
Just didn't know
myself
enough
about
about it, yeah.
both sides of an
'cause
issue.
I don't think anyone's really informed about it as much. It's like it's weird how those things like stick. It's like weed, like things that scare you as a kid that like you're taught to be scared of, and they stick with you for a long time. I think nuclear's in the same boat.
Yeah, and ideally, I would say ideally, the whole world could be powered by wind and water. I mean, that seems ideal.
Right.
As opposed to having to build or worry about disposing of the nuclear waste. But ideally, wind and water could be everything, and solar.
Washington makes so much water, like hydroelectric power, that they send some down to California. Yeah, because there's like a surplus of it up there. Because they have like
a lot of water up there.
a lot of water. Yeah, a lot of water. You guys got a lot of water going on up there.
Speaking of water, this is delicious La Croix.
La
Yeah,
Croix.
pamplemousse.
Pamplemousse. We're at 35 minutes. We need to do the positive spin. Yeah.
We got a positive spin
So
topic.
today, we positive spin something every episode, like something that's we could be seen as negative and why there's good to it. And for you today, ghosts. Positive
Ghosts.
spin. Why ghosts? Like, why are ghosts good?
Oh, I didn't think that they were ever considered to be bad.
See, I mean,
Scary.
scary. Like people get scared.
Oh, people get scared, yeah. And I'm
It's
quite...
unknown.
honestly, if I were to see a ghost, I would probably be frightened.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this. This one's super easy, I think.
Which is great.
Because let's say you lose a loved one, someone who's very close to you, and you're missing them. Many times, it's been reported by hundreds, thousands of people for many, many hundreds of years that person will come back to them, and it'll show them that they're okay now. That they don't have to worry about them now that they're dead, that they're in a better place, or that they're thinking of them, or that they're watching over them, whether it be through a song that they always had together that just keeps popping up on the radio whenever the person's having a bad day. That song, maybe it was the song that them and their mother always loved. That song, whenever they're having the worst day possible, that song always just kind of randomly pops up. And then they realize, oh, my mom's here.
Yeah.
She's letting me know it's okay. That's total ghost activity right there. Or even seeing, actually visually having the apparition there can be terrifying at first, but then many people have reported that, in a time of need, like their grandmother or grandpa or maybe their husband or wife who had passed away shows up and like lets them know it's going to be okay.
That was what you made that way easier than I thought it was going to be.
Well,
I didn't mean to. I mean, I deal with like kind of this stuff all.
Right, which is why we asked
I would have
him.
said
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would never even thought of that.
I didn't mean
about
to make
like
you think
loved
that it
ones.
was like, oh, this is too easy. I
No,
didn't mean it like
I
that.
But that's why
never would
I
have thought about
started
that.
getting interested in it because I watch a lot of Long Island Medium, and I know it's not the classiest way, but that was for a long time. There's things that are wrong with me, but there was the only thing that would make me cry was like watching her tell people,
And then watching that person's reaction.
watching that person because they had lost somebody, and it was just like, oh god. So I was really interested, kind of, and I was like, is that because you associate probably based on like horror movies or whatever?
See,
You're
and
like,
that's-
ghosts are angry,
that's my
they're
entire
mad, like they're
perception.
here to fuck with you or whatever, and so it was kind of like, oh wait, they can be like nice and people and like that
Sure,
could be
like
that
through
connection.
through a channel or a medium. Many people. I had an experience. I don't know, a year and a half ago, where I was just interviewing one, and just in general, and then she just randomly happened to say, "Your grandpa's here," and he had just died not too long ago.
Oh damn.
Weird.
And I was just like, and when she said that, I just instantly became like, like very emotional. So, some people who are skeptical will be like, oh, it's a trick.
Yeah.
It's a trick. Everybody's lost a grandparent. Everybody's lost a loved one or whatever. And that's fine. They can believe that if they want. But I choose to believe that of the thousands of people through hundreds of years who have reported having contact with, the spirit or entity or apparition of a loved one, that they're not all lying.
Right.
And they're not all stupid. or they're not
somehow
all
get
crazy,
together like, hey, we're gonna.
And a lot of people will
them.
be like, these people just want attention. It's like,
Wow.
no, and that's why people have been, apprehensive to, I call it, come out of the attic and talk about their experiences. But I think more and more people are doing that nowadays. In the last 2 years specifically, there's all kinds of people walking around with crystals in their pockets, willing to talk about aliens and ghosts and things like that. So it's not all scary. But scary sells tickets in Hollywood.
Right. Well, because alien stuff, too, is like always seen as like scary
and we've been,
stuff.
I feel like there's a nefarious plot to condition us to believe that the government is thinking of our best interests by not telling us about aliens.
Yeah.
Or disclosure, as they call it. When disclosure is a human rights issue to me. It's the number one human rights issue. If aliens are here, which I believe they already are, probably, and if they do exist, which I think any rational, mathematical-minded person would say that it's very mathematically, it's very plausible that aliens exist. Now, whether or not we are existing in the same period of time with them, because if you think about how vast the universe is, and you think about how vast the age and how old the universe is, and how easy it also is for a random cataclysmic event to destroy an entire civilization on a planet, then it becomes slightly less likely that we would be in an advanced technology stage in our evolution as a culture and as an animal on this random planet where life was able to be formed, that another alien civilization somewhere light years away also was able to be formed with the right conditions on whatever planet that was, and then advance to a certain degree where they can travel through space-time, and then they can get to us, or we can get to them, or we can intersect somewhere else in space in a third point. What are the chances mathematically of that happening? There could have been millions of alien civilizations that were advanced enough to come and visit Earth that have been wiped out.
Yeah.
Right.
But I believe the Drake equation talks about it, and I can't remember all the numbers, but it's basically the math tells us that it's, even though it's so exponentially vast, the universe, but that it's still so likely that there are aliens, and likely here. And I think if aliens, in fact, are here, and the government is not telling us, they make us believe that everyone's going to freak out and there's going to be panic everywhere in the streets. Because I've even had friends tell me that, like, well, everybody would freak out. And I'm like, oh, are you saying that because you think it and you've critically thought the process through? Or are you saying that because that's what you've been told and shown in every movie or TV show ever about aliens?
Right.
Also, people can remarkably get over stuff pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like when something tragic
actually,
happens.
we're nice, and they're like,
We are so adaptable.
Yeah, when something tragic happens, get over it.
We survived the Ice Age in one form, some physical form that we were in at that point in our evolution. We survived an Ice Age. We can handle aliens being here.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know anybody who freaked out watching the Avengers movies.
Yeah, I know, right?
They just accepted that reality immediately. Oh, that's a movie, Ryan. Oh, is it? It's based in reality.
right.
Earth. Everything is based in reality except for the Avengers being these aliens.
Yeah.
But they are just accepted. We're ready to embrace them. Mm-hmm. People are walking around in Thor T-shirts right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, there was that thing too with the Hillary Clinton said something about I'd release stuff on aliens or whatever. If she was like,
I think that was all. That was all for show.
That's you think a show?
Yeah, that was all for show.
But she's a lizard person, so.
But
we did do
because in the conspiratorial UFO alien world, there was huge talk about Obama being the disclosure president. Because there's something called the Disclosure Project, which is led by this guy, Dr. Stephen Greer. He's got all these former military people. He's got all these scientists. He's got all kinds of people. And with hard evidence about UFOs and about aliens and things like that. And people are like, well, it's not proven. It's like, you haven't looked for 2 minutes on the internet. If you believe that aliens aren't real and that UFOs aren't real, you haven't spent more than 45 seconds on the internet trying to find the evidence because it's there for you. But that's how the world is. We're so lazy. It's like unless an alien walks into the room or lands on the White House lawn, as they say, people are gonna act like it's not real, and you're crazy if you believe it. You're crazy number one on the list of people in the world if you believe in Bigfoot.
Yeah.
For some reason. Yet there are thousands of videos of Bigfoot on YouTube. there's more videos of Bigfoot than there's of God. But yet you're a maniac if you believe in Bigfoot. You're like the craziest person around. You get immediately discarded from any kind of conversation. And it's like, well, show me a video of God then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Bigfoot's got to follow me on Twitter, and then I'll believe in him.
yeah. So yeah, I believe in all that. I think it's possible. I'm not saying I wouldn't like die over this
Yeah,
stuff.
and you know what? Yeah, you
Right.
don't
I'm
want
not
to
going to wage a war because someone doesn't believe in Bigfoot. I'm not going to like go to a African country and be like, you need to believe in Bigfoot. You know, like that's, you know, that's not
That's crazy.
what it's all about for me. But yeah, I don't even remember what got me started on that tangent.
You're talking
I
about
said
ghosts.
the aliens.
Oh, ghosts and
Yeah,
aliens. Yeah.
aliens.
So yeah, I do believe it's very likely and positive many times. People's
I
experience.
like that. I didn't
with
even think of the
ghosts.
whole family aspect of it. That just changes the game. I was thinking of the whole like scary get out of my house. That's the ghost house thing. You know.
Well, there definitely can be the negative side.
Yeah.
There's the light and the dark to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you want to do the next top 5?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So this top 5 turnaround, I pick 5 of the worst of something. You guys are on a team against the world.
Together.
So you pick 5 of the worst.
Right, and then you guys have to tell us why it wouldn't be bad, like why it would be a good thing. So this one is the 5 worst psychic fails. So if you were this psychic or person that was supposed to be psychic and this happened to you, why would this be a good thing? Okay.
Okay.
Do we get that?
Okay.
Okay. So they actually had a bunch of these. There was like a show where they brought a bunch of psychics in, and we're like, okay, let's. And they set them up pretty much, but they all channeled a fake person. Like it was, they like made up a story about this guy and like put it on a website about the company that he worked for.
Also, it was a total setup.
Yeah. And then all the psychics like basically they said they channeled this guy and like told him the whole story or whatever, but it was not real. Like they all pretended, I guess, like they were channeling this guy. I don't know.
Oh, is this? I already got a reason why this is not bad.
Okay.
Because there's this guy Rudolf Steiner, right? And he's like, and I shouldn't. I'm not an expert on this guy. I don't know much about it. But there's this concept, like when it comes to like esoteric schools of knowledge and like the occult and all this other kind of stuff, that there's these different realms of existence, right? And thought. When you think something, it becomes a physical thing. Like just thinking something becomes physical. So when you like walk around hating yourself, or being down on yourself or something like that, it becomes it's not. People say you need to stop, thinking that way. You can change your thoughts. You can change your life. I mean, in some degree, I guess, possibly this could be very real. Because if you're thinking of yourself as ugly or stupid, there's a physical, ugly, stupid you that exists now. So they create this person that's not real, right? But they have did they have any, I'm guessing maybe they added a little bit of backstory about the guy to try to round him out. So it wasn't just easily found out by these people beforehand that like it's a fake person, right? So they've created this person that is quote unquote unreal, but therefore by creating him, they've made him real. And there are people who got together and thought about what characteristics this person might have.
There's a whole story to him,
Therefore,
yeah.
that story, that history of this person exists in the realm of thought, right? So if psychics are tapping into energy and collective consciousness more than like, opening a door between that's like a firm material wall between living and dead. But if it's not that, where that guy obviously couldn't be because he never lived, therefore to die. But if it is more of a collective consciousness, right, where there's no past, future, or present, they very much could be tapping into the story of this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Whoa.
So he is.
That's really
That
good.
was already created.
That was great. Yeah.
So maybe they are better at being psychic
Right, 'cause
than
they
these
can
people even thought.
get to
But it's interesting because there's all kinds of people who it's just not enough to not believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They, for lack of a better word, are like jerks about it. Like, I am going to prove that if you don't believe that what I believe, that you are an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to publicly show how much of an idiot these people are. It's like these people, they have nothing good in their life to live for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I shouldn't. That's me judging them. But
a lot of free time.
it does seem weird that like you want to publicly like fool and that's not to say that there's not people out there who are charlatans, because there are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're willing to believe in everything just blindly, you'll get taken advantage of.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
That was good.
So you have to be careful.
That's great. Okay.
I thought you were going to mention Uri Geller. Is he on your list
I don't know.
of top 5 psychic fails?
No, what?
Okay.
Maybe I could. I read a couple of the names, but I was like, I'll just not say the names.
You might
I'll
know
just-
him. Yeah.
The guy who came on TV and was it's about like telekinesis and stuff, and allegedly was able to bend a
Oh
spoon.
yeah, that was the first one that was on
Oh.
here, but I skipped. There was 6
Yeah.
on this list, and I was like, I'm gonna skip that one because he was so
Yeah,
well
yeah.
known. I thought so. I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
And
But yeah,
But there's the James Randi guy. You probably ran into his name when you're doing all this.
Maybe.
The $1 Million Randy Challenge or whatever, for like if you can prove any kind of clairvoyant psychic ability, we'll give you $1 million. And people always bring that guy up. And he had the documentary on Netflix called something about Liar. What was it? What's it called? Anyway, he the challenge doesn't really exist anymore, even though people think it does.
Yeah.
And people always, well, if this person's really psychic, why don't they get the $1 million? It's like, because
because it's
not everybody gives a shit about that.
Yeah.
Most of the people that are like genuinely psychic, that are like deeply in tune to this power, I believe, like they don't have a shop on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
Right, right,
They work at like a title company in like Wichita.
They do it on the side.
right.
Yeah, and
On
you know,
accident.
maybe they just do it for friends and some family who know about it. But you know, or maybe they'll be at a Ren fair or something, you know.
Yeah,
but they're
yeah.
not like you know, they don't have 1-800 numbers like Miss Cleo or something.
Right.
You know.
It is Cleo.
And
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe she had some genuine ability. I'm not sure. But anyway, like yeah, so those people don't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
About trying to prove to you that
Those
something
people,
is
yeah, they're
real.
not trying to
That's not
monetize that.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That is. Yeah. Okay.
All right, number 4
2.
or 2. Yeah, number 2. Yeah. I always count down. You always count up. I don't know.
There's
It's
this
crazy.
psychic fighter. I forget what it was called. Like Mackay something. Like I forget. There's a word for it. Where it was like that was his thing. It was like he could fight, but like
But he would do
His
psychic
mind?
attacks.
yes. But so they set it up where he could fight an MMA fighter, and he got rocked. Like he got beat up pretty bad. Like it was.
Well, I didn't hear about that. So he wasn't allowed to punch or do anything. He was just supposed to psychically do it.
I mean, I guess that
guessing.
was his way of like yes, that would have been. I mean, I'm sure he could.
The guy obviously believes it.
Yeah.
If he was willing to get his ass kicked.
right. That's true. Yeah.
Maybe he just got
You know,
stage fright.
what are you willing to, you know, fight for? I guess.
Yeah.
Is, you know, a way to spin this, but
Yeah,
also.
he's committed.
Also some, just like in everything else, like different skill sets of fighting. Like someone might be really good at judo,
Yeah.
and then someone else might be pretty good at boxing,
Yeah.
and the person who's really good at judo is going to beat the shit out of the person who's pretty good at boxing, maybe.
Yeah.
So this person was maybe pretty good at psychic fighting,
Right.
and the other guy was just really good at
Really good at MMA.
and mixed martial arts.
There was something I heard recently about an MMA fighter who fought like a kung fu master guy, like legit, like this guy knows more kung fu than anyone in the world, and the kung fu guy got destroyed just because it's a completely different style of thing. You know, it's just completely different.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I like that he's willing to fight for it. Though. That's
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. There's a call-in psychic. There's number 3 here. Call-in psychic, and the guy basically just told him his story was the Fresh Prince theme song. Like he just was just like, I was born in Philadelphia, and, you know, like this whole thing. And then he asked him his name. He says it's Will. Like he says the whole thing, and the guy's like going through, and so his like question was that he missed his friends from Philadelphia and didn't want to be in Bel Air, and like this whole thing. And it wasn't until like the very end that the guy was like, oh shit, because he said I'm Will Smith, and he was like, no. It was really, the guy had an Irish accent. It wasn't Will Smith, obviously.
Yeah.
You know what? That's just fun though. Like that's not even, that's like a fail, but it's also like that's just funny though. And at some point, what if the psychic guy just was like realized it earlier and thought it would be funny to go along with it? That's what I.
Well, your Aunt Viv is going to be a real
Yeah.
pain in your ass.
yeah,
I'm seeing-
that's just
yeah.
that's not. I don't even think that's a fail. I think that's just a prank. You know, and pranks
Yeah, it is
are
a prank.
fun.
Like, what are you supposed to do? Like in this situation, it's like that other situation too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when someone comes in launches from a position of deceit.
Yeah.
Right.
There's nothing
They're
really
trying
you
to
can
fuck
do.
you up.
Like,
you could be a medical doctor, and someone could just make up your history to the doctor and tell them what's wrong, and they'll think
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
yeah,
This
you
is
could
true.
definitely do that to a doctor.
Yeah.
How many friends do we have that have lied to doctors to get medicine?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and all doctors are idiots.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, I guess all
Or
doctors are idiots now. All psychics are fools.
Right.
So yeah,
You
that's
did
a
All
good
good.
our
on
friends
that.
are deceitful people.
Yeah. Point is, I think the way you
Yeah.
can twist that is that, like, if you really want to deceive someone, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, that's great.
It's true.
If you want to be a monster,
Be a monster.
it's pretty easy to
Sure.
go ahead and you can be anything you want, even a monster.
Okay, 4. Okay, there's cold reading. So it's this guy, they were filming it, but it was like a bunch of people, and basically they were trying to prove that they weren't really trying it, but the way it ends up going is he just, does somebody know a Kathy or whatever? 'Cause there's so many people that they're like, yeah, I know a Kathy, and then he started asking questions like, does she play music? And they're like, no. And then he'd be like, does she do this? And he's like, no. Like, it just keeps going off the rails until he starts talking to somebody else, and it was the same thing where it was like, did you lose your grandfather? Like, yeah. And did he do this? And they're like, no, he didn't. Like, it just kept going until he just gave up. Yeah. Which is...
Was this the,
Well, you know what?
Was
Cold
it the
reading
Darren
is
Brown? Or
hard.
who was that guy? Do you remember his name by chance?
I don't...
Was he the guy who had the TV show for a minute?
Yeah, I mean, he had...
'Cause
Yeah,
they
this
found
was
out
on
that guy
TV.
was getting fed info too, but
really?
through like an
really?
earpiece, like through
Oh.
pre-screening. So I mean, like but that's like
Didn't even think
probably
about that. Let's see where...
a mixture of him being maybe somewhat fraudulent, and also TV people getting involved,
Right.
and fucking everything else up, and being like, no, we need to screen people because this is TV and we can't just count on you. We're not going to be in here for 6 hours
Yeah.
waiting for you to get a reading. So we need to have information beforehand.
That makes sense.
We have to do that for TV side.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's not how I do things.
That's true. That's
But that's, because
TV
I mean,
ruins it.
when you really get into like the bones of TV, it takes away all the shine and all the mystery and all the magic of it, I guess. But
when you learn how edited your reality television shows
yeah,
are.
and how scripted out it is.
Yeah.
Right. That's what they said about that. They were like, normally they edit it so that it's just the information that he actually gets about the person. But they said because he had just couldn't get anything the whole time.
Well, I
they
think it
just
goes to
left
show
it
that
like
anybody's
that.
allowed to have a bad day,
Yeah.
Like
there you go.
at work. You've had I think everybody's had a bad day at work.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think we understand when it comes to these abilities and these potential paranormal like powers, like they're beyond what we understand that we're able to do for most people. So therefore, why do we expect our measuring systems or our understanding of how to gauge them to be accurate at all? You wouldn't use a measuring cup to measure like someone's courage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we all know people who are courageous beyond what we can even imagine. But yet you can't be like, we've done these tests to prove how courageous someone is. But it's like, courage is this real thing, but you can't put it into a cup
You can't measure.
Yeah.
or on a scale.
I like to think all of us have more than a cup of courage in this room, though.
Yeah, I hope so.
I would think so. At least a
I hope
cup and
so.
a half.
Cup and a half of courage.
All right, 5. They did a show in Australia that was like America's Got Talent, or like America's Next Top Model, kind of, but it was Next Top, or like Australia's Best Psychic, basically, is what it was.
Oh, okay.
And so they put them all, like their challenge was they dropped them in a helicopter, like gave them a map, and then all the like things the pilot had for the, like there was a helicopter waiting at a different location, and they had to like find, like use his stuff to like find him, and none of them could find it. Like it was
like using clairsentience.
yeah, so
So you
it's
have an
waiting
object
for him
of
at a
some- of
different
something.
place. They have a map, not where it is, but just of the area, and then his stuff to be like, okay, we
Interesting.
can find him. And none of them could. They
So you're
all
supposed
stayed
to,
on
like-
this side of the map.
You're supposed
for
to
some
like
reason.
hold his stuff, and then you know where he is.
Well,
or something
some
like that?
people have something called clairsentience, which I believe is what this is. It's where if you give me an item of your clothing or something that you have or something that's important to you, you've infused your energy and kind of your essence into it to a certain degree to where I can just hold it, and just by having it, I can understand things about you.
Interesting.
I've never heard of the location aspect of
Finding
that
someone.
being a thing. So I mean, like when it comes to being psychic, there's all different kinds of psychics out there. Allegedly, right? But so like just like a basketball player, like some basketball players are very good at rebounding, some are very good at shooting, some are very good at passing. To expect them all to be these psychics to all be Russell Westbrook and like be the best at everything. And that's a pretty unique thing. I've never heard someone because you do hear about psychics helping police investigations, looking for missing people.
Oh yeah.
And that happens all the time. And like people don't talk about it, but it's a very real thing that psychics have helped the police find missing people or bodies or whatever. But they don't go out and advertise it.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't go, hey, we had this psychic that helped us find this missing girl's body. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because most of the people are going to be like, wait,
What?
I'm paying my tax. My taxes go to you. Like they'd be considered kooks or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Or like, what kind of witchcraft is happening at the Baltimore PD? But I'm not saying it happens at everything, but there's definitely there's psychics I've met who, at least they've told me they've helped investigations, and they get called every once in a while randomly.
Cool. So maybe these guys like.
They just don't have
wasn't that part of what
maybe
they can't do all
maybe
of it
none of these
thing.
psychics were that
makes
were
sense.
good at that.
Yeah.
But also it's but I guess if you're trying to be or Australia's next top psychic or whatever,
Right, you just try.
maybe
and do it.
Give it a shot.
Maybe you're just trying to be famous and make money off people too.
You're hoping.
But
the other psychics, I was going to say comics. The other psychics were like, "Yeah,
just
we
goes
can't
to
do
show that being
And
like
just didn't do it.
fame hungry idiots isn't. It's it affects everybody. I
It
guess
does,
in the same way, even psychics.
I moved here, so yeah, it affects everybody.
That's great. Well, it was solid work. I think that was a good top
Nice.
five.
We
Yes.
are at 1 hour
Oh,
right now.
man.
Yeah, so I feel like we should skip quiz.
Yeah.
And then do charity.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Do you have any charities you like to?
we always do charities at the end.
You know what I like to do from time to time, and it's so weird because I was just thinking about this yesterday about how you always hear those stories about people who like anonymously donate,
Yeah.
and and it's not until someone comes out and says, "Did you know that Keanu Reeves does all of this crazy great stuff like anonymously and never wants anyone to talk about it and tell about it?" I'm always like, oh, those are the people who are genuinely doing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you'll see people like almost like promoting how great of a person they are all the
Yeah.
time. But because I think that like it's interesting how that can happen. Like, but charities rely on people talking about them.
Yeah.
And it's always great when you find like a good one that you can really get behind. But I like to find random people on Kickstarter.
Oh, I like
that's
this.
great.
Like that's a fun thing to do.
That's really
You just
fun.
search through Kickstarter and maybe you try to help somebody's, you can anonymously try to help somebody's dream project happen. That's a pretty fun thing.
That's
great.
cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's a really
And you
good
don't even
idea.
have to get the reward sent to you if you don't want.
Yeah, you could just have it be anonymous or whatever.
Yeah.
You know who else was a person that discovered after they died that they were really charitable? Was George Michael.
Oh,
George
really?
Michael's? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, and it wasn't like a charity. It was also charities, but it was also like a news story about a person who just got in a terrible accident. He just send them money. Like he just send them.
That's
He's
great.
like,
I think
oh,
that's
an
so
anonymous
cool.
person paid your medical bills. And then they'd pry
really
and
great
pry
stuff.
and pry, and they'd find out it was George Michael's.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And but what's crazy about it is like 30 stories like that came up when he passed away. So he did it a lot.
Wow.
Like he did it all the time, which is
Wow.
nuts. Yeah.
That's great. I like that. That's awesome.
But Kickstarter, that's great. That's a good thing to
That's
do.
a fun
really
one to
fun.
do.
Make someone's dream come true.
Yeah, and but I also like the what is it? The ASPCA
okay.
for animals.
Yeah, we love animal charities on this place.
We love
Yeah.
Place?
animal charity.
Podcast.
This place. Yeah. Here,
On this place you're listening.
The Hug Life place. This week I picked Child Foundation, which is takes high achieving kids that are in really impoverished situations and helps them stay in school by giving them just like the necessities you need to live, so that they don't have to drop out, which is great. And it's called childfoundation.org. Childfoundation.org. It's based in Portland, actually.
That's a cool one.
It's a good one.
There's a lot of fun, different ones we do on here.
This is good.
Yeah, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
I feel like we learned a lot today.
We learned a lot.
I like
It's
this.
fun.
I like this a lot. I want to have you back on again.
Oh,
Yeah, let's do it again.
your
Me and
podcast
Paranormal You.
is Me and Paranormal
Me and
You.
Paranormal You, interviewing people with paranormal abilities or experiences.
It's so interesting. So
I
check
do
that
one
out,
interview
too.
a week, and then I do like a research project every week too on a topic that comes up. So whether it's like, the history of tarot cards or Renaissance magic or, Orgone energy or some of the stuff I can't remember, but because it's been a ton of them. But
So you put out,
so it's always fun.
You put out 2 a week?
But 2 a week, yeah. I didn't realize, like,
Dude.
the first year I just did one interview a week, and then I went up to then I do what I call the third-year bonus, and where it's like the research project. I didn't realize how much more work I was giving myself. But it's made me know more, at least temporarily,
Right.
so which is fun.
That's
but
cool.
and it's led me down a bunch of rabbit holes. So sometimes I'll get more obsessed with certain areas than other areas. Like I'm pretty obsessed with magic again.
Renaissance magic. Like that's what is that?
Well, it's like the 7 forbidden arts of the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church came in and forbid necromancy, scapulomancy, which is animal bones. Necromancy is like the dead.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hydromancy, aeromancy, pyromancy. Did I say aeromancy?
You said
already?
aromancy. Yeah.
Chiromancy or chiromancy, which is palmistry, palm reading.
Really?
And then there's the 7th one, which I'm trying to remember. Was I think finger painting? They didn't want you to do it.
No hand turkeys here in the Catholic Church.
So those are the
How
7
dare
forbidden
you.
arts. Yeah,
That's interesting.
There's a 7th one, but I'm blanking on.
Well,
whatever
it's
it
probably
is.
forbidden. It's
Pyromancy.
probably good you don't tell
Actually,
anyone.
the fire.
Pyro. I love all that stuff because I play a lot of fantasy video games, and those are all in there. So I'm really into this.
Yeah,
It's so check out his podcast. It's interesting. You're gonna learn so much.
yeah. start
I
doing
didn't
some
even know
magic.
necromancy was a thing outside of like fiction stuff. See, that's
Oh
what,
yeah, there's
that's
some.
how I'm
There's
like,
a lot of necromancers, especially in this town.
dude, you're gonna
Oh,
make
really?
me go down a serious rabbit hole on YouTube later.
You can find
I'm
some
so
necromancers,
excited about it.
some demonologists, necromancers. They those worlds kind of melt into each other.
Biologists.
This is gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
Like the people who come and like get rid of ghosts in your house.
Oh
What-
yeah.
I
Okay.
actually wanted-
yeah.
people.
I actually wanted
There's
to
like
ask you
some
about that.
necromancy happening there.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
The people that come in, like, so there's because that's we're.
They like cleanse.
Oh, this is upsetting. We're running
Yeah,
out. We're so out of time. We can't get into it. I'm sorry. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Yeah, it was my
today.
pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks for doing
This
it.
is
It was
really fun,
Great.
and we learned a lot on the ins and outs of I almost said titty washes, wet t-shirt contests. What is wrong
Same
with
thing,
me?
I guess.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for listening. Bye bye.